Grant Amato is accused of killing his parents and a brother. Today, his only surviving brother testified about the last time he saw his family alive.
You haven't heard from anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's words that, I can't think of to even say.
This is Grant Amato, hours after the police found out that he was the only survivor of a familicide that occurred at his house involving his parents and brother. For hours, Grant was in the interview room, denying any involvement in the murder case until the detectives realized that he was an obsessive son who just murdered his family. On January 25th of 2019, the police got a call from a man who claimed his colleague, Cody Armato, didn't show up at work, which was very unusual. That day, the police went to the residence of the Armatos in Seminole County, Florida, to conduct a welfare check on Cody. However, they were met with a horrifying sight. It was the body of Cody Armato, his mother, Margaret Armato, his father, Chad Armato, all three shot dead in execution style. The investigators kickstarted their investigation on the case and soon found out that there were two other family members alive. One, Grant Armato, who had always lived in the house, and Jason, his half-brother, who didn't live with them. Police obtained the details of both sons' activities within the time when the murder was committed and found out that the last person to have seen the victims was Grant. When the police searched the home, Grant's 1996 Honda Accord was missing, so the police put out a bulletin for the car and found him the next day at the Doubletree Hotel in Orlando, where he was called in for an interview. Right from the start of the interview, it was clear that Grant was raised with love and given all that he needed to pursue his dreams. He was sponsored to study nursing at the University of Central Florida with Cody, but he has always been one to do things differently. While Cody graduated, Grant withdrew from the program and became a nurse at Advent Health Orlando, where he worked as administrative assistant, but his career ended quickly as he got fired for theft.
But, with that, I primarily worked in the hospital for, I think, 5 or 6 years. Wrongful accusation of the grand theft charge that I told you about in the car. When that happened, I stopped working at the hospital, and then that took
I don't think we talked about that.
The police want to know what went wrong, and the first thing was to know if the whole case involved a desire of any type.
Okay. Girlfriends.
Girlfriends. I had, my high school sweetheart girlfriend for about 5 years. And then ever since then, no, official girlfriends, no flings or anything like that.
Dates here and there.
Dates occasionally, but...
As soon as it was clear that Grant didn't have a lover, the investigators made a move on his emotions as they asked him about his brother.
Close with your brother, Cody? Let's talk about Cody.
Oh, yeah, me and Cody...
Who's older, you or him?
He is. I'm the youngest one. I'm 29, he's 31. Okay. My oldest brother, Jason, is 35 or 36 now.
Who lives at home?
Grant's answers were given with a straight face, but the investigators were not convinced, so they asked him about his mother.
Kind of like Cody, she's always been the one that focused on me, and
that right there is a shocking, reminiscing smile that is unexpected of someone who just shot his mother point blank. However, his demeanor changed a little bit when he was asked about his father.
Angry, violent type person. Overbearing.
It soon became obvious to the investigators that Grant had always had spending issues, as he mentioned that his father last got mad at him because of his unreasonable expenses.
When's the last time your dad put his hands on you?
The last time my dad put his hands on me would be, I'd say, kind of the middle of December of 2018.
What happened?
It's because, with all the money that had been getting spent and,
Basically, Chad was always annoyed about Grant's spending because he spent on something that was not worth it, but to Grant, it was everything.
Yeah.
And what were you buying with it?
Well, what I was doing is, over the past 4 months or something like that, I've been talking to this woman online.
Who's she?
She's, as embarrassing as it is, she's a cam model.
A what?
A cam model.
It was also clear that Grant had a heated argument with his father, which led him to pack out of the house on January 24th of 2019, the day that his parents and brother died.
I mean, to pack my shit up and just get out of the house. That he was the one who had to be the hammer, and that, why am I making him have to go through this, and all this other kind of stuff.
Okay. And at this time, the argument with Dad is at what time?
The argument with Dad is 6:30 or so.
6:30.
Yeah.
Okay. You have your argument and you pack your stuff?
I had my argument, and then I'm packing my stuff. I'm, taking it out to the car. It took me like a couple hours to get as much as I could.
From this moment onward, Grant told a lot of lies about what happened on January 24th of 2019. After Grant lost his job, he began spending hours of his time on explicit content. Not just his time, but his family's money, and soon, he got obsessed with a model named Sylvia Ventsislavova, known to her fans as Sylvie. For Sylvie, Grant spent hundreds of dollars of his family money every day to get videos and pictures of her, and even sent messages to beg her for more content.
I'm outside, going to check the mail, and I'm asking you if you can please, pretty please, send me one of your videos. I love it so much when you just send them to me. Yeah, I don't like buying your stuff. It makes me feel weird.
Within a few months, Grant has already spent about $200,000 of his family money on a cam model that he never met. After his parents found out, they prohibited him from contacting Sylvie, and he left the home to stay with his aunt, Donna Amato. But soon after, Grant began stealing money from her and continued his interaction with Sylvie. Donna got mad at what Grant did and intended to call the police. But Chad and Margaret covered it all up by pleading with Donna and sent Grant to a rehab clinic for adult content and internet addiction in December of 2018. When Grant left rehab in early January 2019, Chad and Margaret gave Grant a written ultimatum. If he wanted to keep living at home, he had to get a job during the day, go to therapy, and pay for his own cell phone and debts. And the most important rule of all, he must not contact Sylvie. Instead of following these rules, he used his mother's cell phone to message Sylvie again. And when Chad found out on January 24th of 2019, he ordered Grant to leave their home. On January 24th of 2019, while Margaret was sipping coffee by her computer desk, Grant walked in on her and shot her in the back of the head with an IWI Jericho 941 pistol. He then waited for his father to come back from work and shot him twice as soon as he entered the kitchen. Finally, he used his father's phone to text Cody to come home from work, and as soon as he came, shot him as well. Grant then made the scene look like Cody killed their parents and committed suicide by leaving the murder weapon beside him. And even in the interview, he still tried to frame Cody for the murder.
The conversation was basically that he was brought up to speed, and that he would take care of it.
He was brought up to speed by what?
He was brought up to speed on why I'm out here.
Who brought him up to speed?
My mom.
Oh, so she talked to him?
Yeah.
He told you that mom had...
During the interview, Grant gradually implicated himself with his stories as he mentioned a place of interest to the police.
It was where I am.
Okay, how long did you stay there?
I stayed there for, a couple hours, I would say.
Just
That same area where you were talking about?
I would go, kind of just up and down that road a little bit, just at my cars and just, sitting there. Mm-hmm. But for the most, I was staying in that general area, and then I decided to go...
To Publix?
Publix.
Which was about what time?
Publix was the supermarket that Grant went to use the free website to log into Campsite with his brother's credit card. Immediately, he murdered his family. To be clear, Grant wasn't told why he was in the interrogation room, and he never bothered to ask, not even once. But after 2 hours of interview, the detectives made the first confrontation.
I honestly don't know, but I'm pretty freaked out at this point because, it's, I know, how the situation was when I left, and, I thought that it was weird to begin with that I hadn't gotten any communication whatsoever. Like I had told you, my brother, Cody, the last time...
The detectives tried to make him confess, but it seemed like the lead interrogator's approach was too outdated for Grant to fall into his trap.
Tell me what you think, because I can tell I've done this for a long, long time, and I read people, the way they act, the way they talk to me, and the way they answer questions. There's something you want to tell us. I can see it in your eyes, I can see it in your body language, and just the way you act.
However, the female detective stepped in and asked an important question that almost made Grant fall.
House, there's a reason why you haven't tried to reach out. It's
I want
odd
help.
you haven't heard from anybody.
Yeah, it's words that, I can't think of to even say. But I'm assuming that, when you see that there is a shooting somewhere and it's around, and it has to do with my family. I have absolutely no ability to comprehend the words.
She also afforded him justifications for his crimes, making the gravity of a mission less intimidating, but in the end, Grant didn't confess. Instead, he tried to frame Cody again.
If anything happened in the home to bring law enforcement there, what would you think happened?
That there was a shooting.
Between whom?
I don't know. Between Cody and my dad.
And why would you think that?
To protect me, or to help me, or to do something with me.
However, the detectives made him see that Cody was not the murderer and immediately made him understand that they had evidence that it was not Jason as well.
So you're the only outstanding child. You're the one that's been having problems with your dad. You're the one that we haven't been able to find for 2 days. Do you understand now why we would be questioning you about this?
The detectives then asked him a question to see if he had seen the news or heard anything about the case, but still, he lied.
Did you learn that your family was dead?
I had been worried since last night when I was just in the hotel, but I knew when you guys told me.
After the detectives saw that Grant remained cold in the interview room even after all that he had done, they decided to invite his half-brother in to see if they could evoke his emotions. But still, Grant repeated all that he had told the cops, motionless. Even Jason shed a few tears, mentioning that the victims were good people who didn't deserve what the killer did to them, but Grant sat there unfazed until the end. Because there was no reason to arrest Grant at the time, the police let him go back to his hotel. However, 9 hours later, all gathered evidence pointed at Grant as the killer, and so he was arrested for the murders of his brother and parents. After days of trial, Grant was found guilty, and his sentence was read to him by the judge.
37 CFA, the state of Florida versus Grant Amato. You've been found guilty of 3 counts for killing both your mother, your father, and your brother. Margaret Amato, Chad Amato, and Cody Amato.
And just when we thought that we had seen it all, a disturbing video of Grant's call from jail shows him sending a message to Sylvie once again.
You're always on my mind. You're the most important thing on my mind. I just can't wait to hear you, and I can't wait to see you again. I want so many more pictures and videos.
At this point, it's clear that Grant is irredeemable, as he believes that even though he had never met Sylvie, they share a particular connection that no one knows about. But it seems that his feelings would die with him, as he's currently being held at Tomoka Correctional Institution in Daytona Beach, Florida, without the possibility of parole.